We men are known for doing stupid shit. But if you take all the stupid shit that we've ever done in the world and you add them up, they would not come anywhere near the amount of stupid shit that women have done over the course of the last 50 years. Because you see, 50 years ago, they started down this path to being just like us. They wanted to have everything that we had. They want to be just like men. Well, they're not quite there yet, but they've come far enough that I think they figured it out, that it's not all it's cracked up to be. So today, we're going to take a victory lap. We're going to have our "we told you so" moment. And I'm going to go through a handful of the circumstances that have come out of this screwball event called feminism and how it's impacted their lives, our lives, and the world. This is Life 2.0. Let's talk about it. So let's start with jobs. This is one of the main issues that started with the beginning of feminism. Women wanted an equal shot at jobs, and of course, men held all the jobs, and most of the industries were male-dominated. Now, this was true because men were breadwinners back in the day. They actually were the person in the household who was given the responsibility and had the expectation that they would be bringing home a living wage for the family to live off of. But back in the 1970s, women decided it would be a good idea that more women got involved into the workplace. And so laws were passed and things happened, and one thing led to another, and sure enough, women started entering the workplace. Oddly enough, at that same time, and it's just a coincidence, I'm sure, inflation went through the roof. Now, I know oil prices had a lot to do with it, other things played a role, but that's basically what happened. Inflation went sky high. Wages went flat. People stopped getting wage increases. The basic economics of supply and demand started to play a role here, where we had a large supply of labor and a limited supply of jobs. And so companies found that there was a lot of benefit in this whole change of gender roles in our country, and having more and more women became beneficial at that moment for corporations because they could bring more and more women in, they could pay them less money, they could cut back on the overhead of having men who were no longer going to be breadwinners anymore. Now you had two people in the household who were going to be earning wages. And so the whole wage structure for our country changed. And it has persisted to this day. And in fact, I would argue that it's even gotten worse. We call it the two-income trap. And every middle-class family, for the most part, is going to need to have two incomes just to make ends meet these days. The feminist mantra was always, you can have it all. You can have the career, you can have the family, you can have kids, you can have a really well-balanced life if you just follow our teachings, if you follow our path. Well, the truth of the matter is, life is very, very difficult. It becomes a pressure cooker. We told you so. As men, we had been down this path of being just the breadwinners. And now you want to be the breadwinner and the motherer, the nurturer, the homemaker. And yeah, there's no question that burnout is going to go through the roof. There is no way that most people can handle a 60-hour-a-week career job and also raise a family. It's just about impossible. But because all these women have come into the workplace, it's now almost impossible for a man to support a family on a single income. So we've created this mess that we're now all in because you guys wanted all this opportunity. So you got the opportunity. And now marriages are failing, people are stopping getting married, divorces are going sky high, and nobody wants to have any more babies because it's just too damn hard. And this is where we are. This is what's happened. And I think way back when, we told you so. It's like, hey, this isn't going to work out well. This isn't working with the natural order of things. The dogs don't try to be cats, and the cat does not try to be a dog. They know who they are. They behave the way they behave because that's their nature. Men behave the way they behave because that's their nature. Women have a nature too. And some women, and I'm not saying that all women are the same. I mean, obviously, there are some women who can perform well and excel in these highly competitive pressure cooker environments. But these are not the same women who are going to also have a family. As men, we knew going in that pressure cooker jobs and trying to bring home a paycheck and trying to be a breadwinner week after week, month after month, year after year, perhaps for decades, was a difficult thing to do. You guys are just learning how difficult it can be. And there's very little opportunity to have a family, much less even just meet somebody. Forget about having children and all that stuff, when you're all dedicated to your career and you're in that kind of environment. So, we told you so. One of the primary areas where we differ is that women are attracted to men who can bring home the bacon, who can be good providers. Guess what? Men are not attracted to women in the same way. That's not what we're attracted to. I don't care how many figures you have, how many zeros you have after your paycheck. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care if you're a millionaire. It doesn't matter. That's not what I'm interested in. That's not why I want to have you in my life. I'm not interested in you being the provider. And I think that most women thought that because they would start making money, that men would start looking at them in that same way. And we haven't, and we probably never will, because that's not our nature. You see what I mean? That's not who we are. That's not the way we're built. We can't operate on that level. We don't have the equipment for that. Like, we don't think that way. And women don't think the other way. So when you are the provider and you are making that huge paycheck, well, you're not looking for some guy to be the submissive little guy around the house. No, that's not who you want. You want someone who's making more money than you. Well, what you've inevitably done is you've made the market so small for yourself. So if you're making, say, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, well, who are you going to meet? I mean, really, who are you going to find? You're going to have to, go to the millionaire class. You're just narrowing down the number of guys that you can possibly hook up with. And the thing is, most of those guys are not interested in you based on how much money you make. They don't need your money. They don't care. That's not what they want. They're looking for a feminine woman, someone who will have their back, someone they can raise a family with, someone who is nurturing, kind, and supportive. That's what's important to us. Nurturing, kind, and supportive. Sexy's fun too, but nurturing, kind, and supportive goes a long way. I'm telling you. I don't care about your paycheck. I care about your heart. I care about your values. I care about your kindness. That's what I want to know. I don't care about your paycheck. There was an article written by a woman named Kate Melany, who's a 63-year-old British journalist and broadcaster. And the title of the article was, "Feminism Ruined My Life." Now, this is a woman who all of her life had been a staunch feminist. She believed in the whole thing. She swallowed that pill, that hook, line, and sinker. She went all in on feminism. Yet in her article, she describes how at age 63, her dreams of having a family, of having a partner, sitting on the porch and watching the children and the grandchildren play, all of that is gone. And in its place, she has the cold satisfaction that she was able to have the career path that she wanted. As if that was the purpose of her life. Being a great journalist, being a great broadcaster, like that gave her life satisfaction. Now, I'm not knocking it. For some people, that does. For some people, they believe that that's going to give them satisfaction. She certainly did. But upon reflection, as she's approaching retirement, she realizes that that wasn't what life was about, that she missed the whole point, that life was not about her career, that her career should not have been her entire life, that her life should have existed for the purposes of developing strong, healthy relationships and building a family, and then the career could have been a part of that. But instead, that career took up all the space where that family would have existed. And now she's left with that cold emptiness, realizing that her life has passed her by, and that dream of having a family can never happen. There was a study that came out, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 months ago. I did a video about it, and it was a research organization looking at the life experience of women in different parts of the country and with different belief systems and political affiliations. And they started to draw basically a map of the kind of behaviors that make people happy and those kinds of behaviors that make people unhappy. Women in particular here. And what they found was that women that lived in rural communities who had more traditional roles and were better connected with church and their community were happier than women who were liberal, who lived in cities and were more connected to their jobs and their careers. And I found that to be really, really interesting. Women said they wanted independence, and what they ended up with was isolation. About 30% of the women that they polled that live in these cities and are focused on their corporate jobs claim that they are lonely and that they feel isolated and their life does not have the quality that they had imagined, that they're not reaching their own personal objectives for happiness. Just think about that for a minute. These same women's mothers and grandmothers who were raising families and taking care of households, and maybe even these women's peers who live in more rural communities, who live more traditional lifestyles. And maybe they work too, they could have jobs as well, but they do seem to be more connected. They tend to get married at an earlier age. They tend to have more religious affiliation. They tend to be more family oriented. These women seem to be extremely happy and satisfied with their lives in comparison. Well, ladies, we told you so. You hurt yourselves, you hurt us, hell, you hurt the whole country. This whole be just like a man situation probably did not go as you guys had planned. And I don't know what you're going to do about it now, because now you're in way too deep. I bet a lot of you would like to just be stay-at-home moms now, you know? I see lots of women online talking about how they really wished they could have just been a stay-at-home mom the whole time. And when you have these ardent feminists coming out of the woodworks saying we were wrong, we were wrong, we were wrong, it becomes a little bit gratifying to hear that, but it's sort of too late. You know, like the damage has been done. It's like, you know, once that bullet is fired, you can't unfire it. And you guys have fired a lot of bullets, and now we're having to deal with the consequences. So, we told you so. Now you guys are gonna have to fix it. I don't know what you're gonna do, but you guys are the majority. You got the political power. You need to do something about it. Maybe you should roll back some of this stuff. Maybe you need to find a way to get rid of that two-income trap. Make it possible for a single breadwinner to manage a family. Because as things are right now, I would say that very little has improved socially since feminism pushed women into wokeism in our current set of circumstances. All right, you guys, that's all I got for you today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please like and subscribe. If you know someone who might enjoy this video, please forward it to them. Anyway, till next time, stay healthy, and if you can, stay single.